It's International Women's Day, which I am turning into International Women's Month. The theme for this year is inspire inclusion. So the way I'm doing that is by talking to all of the inspirational women in my life. Well, not all of them. That would probably take longer than 32 days, but a lot of the inspirational women in my life. And one of those women is Adrienne. And we know each other because Adrienne was my boss when I worked at Gap. I had a rough patch, hit a rough patch in my career, went to work at Gap, and Adrienne was my boss, and I just kept her as my friend when I moved on to another job. She was my best pickup from that job. When I started thinking about this project that I'm doing, she came to mind immediately because she's such an inspiration to me and has been such a mentor and friend and somebody that I admire. So I'm going to throw to you, Adrienne, and let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you very much, Leah. That was awfully sweet and very kind words. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to do this. This is important to me, and I know it's very important to you. And I'll share a little bit about why. But a little bit about me. I grew up in a small town in southern New Mexico. I have one sister, and my parents were a very close family. Grew up working hard almost all my life. I think my mom and her family had a business, a restaurant, and she grew up in that restaurant all her life as well. So from the very beginning, when probably child labor was illegal, we were working. Like if you could walk and you could hold things, you would work in the restaurant.
And tamales don't roll themselves, my friend.
No, they don't. No, they don't. So, and I did everything. I bussed tables. I prepared. I was a line cook and did a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that industry and really learning from my grandmother, learning from my mother, learning from my aunts, and just growing in this really tight knit family because all the cousins and everybody did the same thing.
Yeah.
So did that and went to college, stayed in that small town and went to college there. And as soon as I possibly could, I left because I was done with the small town and I was done with being in a family who knew everything that I did and when I breathed and sneezed and everything. So I graduated from college and I got a job and I said sayonara, and I left for about 5 years, not very far. I just moved to Texas, but I was on my own.
Yeah.
And I had my own car and my own apartment and my own things and my own life and my own career.
Yeah.
But we were still close, and I still visited for holidays and eventually moved back home. So I was in Texas and involved. I had a good job, but I was involved in a really bad relationship, and didn't know how to get out of that relationship and how to leave a bad situation. So the only way I knew how was to ask my family for help, and of course they didn't skip a beat. They helped me. They provided solutions, different options, different things. They wanted me to keep my independence and keep my career, but they also were worried for my safety and just wanted me to do whatever it was that made me happy. So eventually I just said, I just need to get out of this state and out of this place. So my dad hopped on a Greyhound bus and left southern New Mexico to Houston, Texas to pick me and my 2 dogs and 6 puppies up. Okay. My dog had just had puppies. So, and everything, it happened so fast, but it was like just one of those things that had to happen.
Yeah.
We packed my stuff, we packed the dogs in the car, and we drove back to southern New Mexico. And I left that relationship probably not the right way or the way, I don't know. I got out. Exactly. And And so it was kind of a low point in my life. You know, I'd wanted all this independence for so long and wanted to make something of myself, and I felt very broken and very lost. Um, so I did the only thing I knew how to do, which was go back to school. So I went to graduate school and lived with my parents and just tried to figure things out and tried to learn something new again. So that was all good, and I think I healed a little bit over time, but it did take some time. Eventually, in graduate school, I met a man, I met a boy who made me laugh and inspired me and encouraged me and really just clicked with me and loved me. And I ended up marrying him. So I met my husband in graduate school. He graduated before I did, so he waited for me and took little odd jobs here and there until we got married. We got married in 1999 and didn't know what we were going to do or where we were going to go. We just knew we were in love and we knew that we wanted to be together.
Yeah.
He's from Albuquerque, so he said, you know, there's probably better job opportunities if we're going to stay in New Mexico. At least let's start out. I have some land and we can live next to my parents or we cannot or whatever. So we packed up all our stuff and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the rest is history. I've been here we've been married for almost 25 years. I've been here for that long. And we have one daughter, a teenager, 15. Lord help me. But we are doing great, and we're still close to our families, and we go back to southern New Mexico. You know, he lived there during college, so we have a soft place in our hearts for that and go back to visit all the time.
I love that. I mean, I think there's such a interesting, you know, a lot of us as women, we're like, okay, I need some independence. I want some space. I want my own space. I want to capture that need, because I think as girls, we're often sort of insulated in a different way than even boys are, like even in the same family, right? And yet when our families sort of let us go free and give us that space, we get that exposure. And then sometimes we're like, I need to go home, right? There's some reason I need to go home for whatever reason. I mean, I feel that even, you know, moving halfway around the world, there are moments when I'm like, do I need to move home? Is that what I need? You know, and you know, you just have these like little pockets of space, but that your dad was like, yeah, of course, I'll come get you. Like, that's what we hope for, you know.
Right.
Not everybody has that, but that's what we hope. That's why my dad would have done the same. Like, all right, I'll be there. Get ready, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get on the road as soon as I get there. So so I love that. And that you then, you know, you didn't just find another guy like that one. You found a great guy, right? And it's funny. So that's good news, right?
Yes. Totally.
And he works hard. Like, that's the other thing, is like, he's also a hard worker. You're well matched in that vein, right? Like, they're
absolutely
similar in how you both work and what you want, right? And the values.
Absolutely.
And I think that's been it was always, you know, I just remember Chris would call you at work and he would make you laugh. Like, you always laughed when he called, right? Like,
yes.
And I would just be like, Adrienne's talking to Chris, right? Like,
you remember that.
I do. I mean, I knew he was saying, well, I'm going to get off at this time and I'll meet you here and blah, 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 you know, but he would always make you laugh. There was always something. And I thought, well, that's healthy. That's lovely. Right.
Absolutely.
But that's if you're going to work hard, have some fun.
Right.
Like, it's such a huge part of what we do. The other thing, I mean, in addition to Chris making you laugh, like, you know that one of my absolute favorite things about you is your laugh, right?
Yes. You're one of very few people, though.
Yeah, everyone is like, oh my God, right?
Yes.
I'm like, laugh. Let's make Adrienne laugh. Like, we can do it at the worst possible moment because it's my favorite. But the reason I've always loved it is that you laugh with zero abandon. Like, you just laugh. And you bring your whole self to that. But more than that, one of the things I've always admired about you is that no matter how bad things are, you have some ray of hope, some sunshine, some warmth that you bring to situations. And so one of the reasons I want to talk to you is like, what is that? What is that little thing, that little magic sauce that you bring because it inspires others around you?
Wow. Um, I think it's a lot of little things.
Yeah.
But if I had to say, when I'm at my lowest, or there's just, I feel hopeless, or I feel confused, or I'm conflicted, the one thing that always shows me a little glimmer of hope is my mom
Yeah.
saying, you can overcome this.
Yeah.
Like, you can get through this. You can do this. And and maybe also my faith.
Mhm.
I was raised in the Catholic Church, and different, practices and different beliefs, and different ways of worshiping, and when I was on my own, I carried some of that with me at times, and then sometimes I didn't. You go through all that, right? And trying to find what it is that helps you to be a spiritual person, or whatever it is.
Right.
That my mom telling me that, not forcing it
Yeah.
in me, but telling me, whatever it is, have faith and you will get through it.
Yeah.
That's what I think about.
I
That's
love,
what makes me smile.
yeah. No, I love that because I think, I mean, I just think that there's so much, if you get bogged down in what's bad in the world, it's easy. I mean, just look around and go, yeah, things are bad.
Yeah.
Right. But I think there's also so much good. There's so many good people and so many people trying to do the right thing. And there are just these like little pockets of, ooh, that's good. That's good news. Right.
Yeah.
And I think your disposition makes you someone that can help your teams, work through problems and see like, okay, we're gonna get through this. Cause I mean, let's be honest. When I worked for you, I had a crazy team. It was
Totally.
nuts. Right.
Yes.
And I was like,
Little,
what the hell is going on?
yeah, yeah, little dysfunctional.
I mean, I talked to HR a lot when I was
Yeah.
in that really brief way.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
in HR a lot, right? And
Yes.
but I remember I never got totally sunk by it. You
Mhm.
would be like, this is not about you. You're not a problem. This is not this is a problem team and you are doing good work, right? And you would
Right.
sort of pull me up out of it. And because otherwise I was like, I'm doing it all wrong because this is a mess.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope,
Right.
nope, it was a mess when I gave it to you, and it'll be a mess
Yeah.
when you leave because the team is a mess.
So true. Absolutely.
But I say all that, like, part of the reason I learned so much, I grew as a leader, was because you were like, no, no,
Mm.
keep doing this, try this, but keep doing these things, right? But there was a lot of hope there. And I look at that and think, yeah, I can see why people like to follow you, right? I know because
Wow.
I did. So
Thank
when you
you.
look at, your life now and raising a teenager, what do you want her to take with her as she goes kind of into being an adult? You see, I mean, she's her own person, but she's also
Mhm.
part of your family. What do you want her to take from the women that she's around and you included, like that she's has in her life?
Well, she's our only child. So I she was a miracle baby as it is. I wasn't able to have children. So that's a whole other story. But with that though, she has a lot of attention on herself. She gets a lot of attention. She gets a lot of things that she wants, because we don't have to share our love and share our
Right.
our home and share our whatever food. So I want her to know that not everything in life is going to be given to you like it has. I want her to know what it's like to work hard. Now, she didn't have she didn't grow up in the restaurant, or she didn't grow up, the way I did when I was forced to kind of work hard.
Right.
But I want her to learn that she has to work hard. I especially want her to learn to be independent and to really not have to rely on anyone or anything to get her through
Yeah.
life. I want her to know how to change a tire in her car. I want her to know how to cook a meal and how to pay her bills and just how to live and how to be independent and not rely on anyone. And just to know that to what she puts into things is what she'll get out of it. So it's so challenging right now with a teenager. There's so much in society and social media and phones and everything that I try not to be oblivious to it, but it's now I'm the one saying this is a totally different time. That's not the way we did it
Right.
when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And she has no idea. She has no idea what a landline phone was or
Like, what's that sound, right?
yeah, exactly. So I want her to appreciate some of those things and to appreciate that what we've given her and what we've done for her was because we worked hard and because we wanted her to feel like she could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, there's such a, it is hard to be, I mean, I would not be a teenage girl again for all the money in the world.
Right.
I wouldn't do it now, no matter what. Like they would have to just, right? Because it's crazy. Like you watch and think, yeah, of course it's harder to be a teenager, boy or girl, or anything on that spectrum, right? But like teenage girls, you just carry so much about what everyone is saying about how you should be, who you should be, what you should look like, what your body should look like. And it's hard. And I just think, it's hard enough, right? And so to know, I think I hear you saying, like, to know what it means to work hard, to take the privilege she has and use it and pump it into her independence and into things that she wants to achieve. And fully knowing that she's always going to have a support system. There's a bundle of people in her life that are behind her that are like, we'll be there. Like, who are we killing? Right.
Yes, absolutely.
She doesn't have to worry.
Nope.
Boys of the world, don't mess with that one.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that because I mean I do think it is because like you said, her life is different than the one you had, right?
Yeah.
But helping her see the trajectory of how it got to there, how she got that life. Super
absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. So the last question for you is the same question I've asked everyone. If you were going to give young Adrienne some advice from the place you are now that might be beneficial to those who are listening, what would it be?
I would a couple of things, and I would say because it's something that I also tell my daughter, and I wish my mom would have told me too. There are things that a parent I think wants for their child and hopes for their child, and believe it or not, that's not always what the child wants. And I had to really realize that that's what my mom did to me and what I did to my daughter. Is I wanted her to play a certain sport or to do a certain thing or dress a certain way, and that wasn't who she was. And I think that when I finally realized it, and I realized it early enough, it's not like I made her life miserable, but when I realized, she's going to be whoever she wants to be. And I need to accept that and embrace that and appreciate that. As long as I've built the foundation for being a good person, then I think she'll be okay. Yeah. So what would I tell myself? I would tell myself to be who I want to be, to not listen to my family or my peers or my friends or the society or whatever and telling me who I should be and what I should look like and what I should represent as a Latina, as a woman, as whatever. I shouldn't listen to that. I should listen to my heart and be who I want to be and do what I love and do what makes me happy And I think that's really that's it. It's what really makes everything else falls into place if you truly believe and love what you're doing and love yourself, and know that if the people around me accept me and love me for who I am, then I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And I think, I mean, I give people the similar advice early in my career. I got advice from a lady who said, don't do the thing, don't chase in your career, don't chase things that look right on paper. Don't climb a ladder, don't do those things. Do what you're excited about, do things that challenge you, do things you're interested in, and let promotions and money and opportunity come your way, because you'll work hard and be excited and people will see it.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that's similar to what
Absolutely.
you're saying, like this, the ability to say, I am going to show up as myself. And if someone doesn't like me, okay, I'm not for everyone, right? We're not made to be for everybody, right?
Right.
The people who like me will love me. They'll be like, oh, come closer again, we'll have that. And I see that even, one of the things I was talking with a friend about, these conversations, this is me and 32 of my friends talking.
So
right?
true.
And,
Yes.
and what's fascinating is I think there are some women out there that are probably going to be like, did you get these 32 friends? You too can have these 32 friends.
Yeah.
It's an investment. You're yourself and you look for people who go, oh, I want to hang out with you. And then you do it.
Right.
Right. And you say, no matter where we are in the world, we're friends.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And I look at that and think, I want women to know, like, you can have this circle.
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. And you can, and I say this to my daughter all the time, you want the kind of friend that if you don't talk with her for months, years, it doesn't matter, because you still have that connection. And when you do talk and when you do see each other, it's like you never skipped a beat, like all that time. Yeah, totally. Those are the types of friends that you want, and the ones that lift you up and encourage you and say, don't worry about it. If I know you're busy, we'll just catch up later, and don't make you feel guilty for not being there.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, obviously, I think that's our friendship has always been like that.
Yeah.
We go long stretches and then we're like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, for those who don't know, is like we joined the call laughing. We were like laughing already before we ever even, like, we barely got it word in and we were already laughing with each other. So that's what I expect from this friendship. But you also know that if you needed to cry, I would be like, let's do that. What are we crying about? Right?
Yep.
Like, and I think I feel the same with you. Like, I know that I could say, oof, I'm in it. I'm in the shit.
Yep.
And I need some help. Right? So
Yep. Absolutely. 100%.
And I think that comes from being ourselves. I know
Yes.
who you are authentically. You didn't hide that from me, right? And saying,
Right.
I wasn't trying to be something I wasn't. You got real me. And so that's what we built our entire relationship on. Boss to subordinate, but also friend to friend. And I think that makes a difference, right?
Absolutely, it does.
Also, ladies, you can sometimes be really good friends with your boss.
Yes, you can. And I have bosses that I'm really good friends with too, or that were my bosses that I'm good friends with too. And those are also the friendships that I value and keep very close to my heart. Absolutely.
Totally. And every time someone says, a woman will say, oh, I don't like working for a woman. And I'm all, well, you just haven't worked for the right ones.
That's right.
Because I work for some badass women that I love. Well, thanks for letting me interview you. This was
thank you.
Yeah.
This was so much fun, Leah. Thank you so much for this. This is amazing work that you're doing, and it feels good, and it makes me feel good. So thank you for including me.
Obviously, yeah, it makes total sense. You were on the list in the A's. Awesome. Well, if you're watching this, you'll notice that right below us, there is a little QR code where you can donate to the Malala Fund. The Malala Fund ensures that women and girls in some parts of the world that haven't had access to education get access to education, and that other girls will get access to leadership education. So it's a really important project and fund that Malala has set up. And so we're going to donate this month to that. So if you'd like to, grab that QR code and send some money. So thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you, Leah.